Alright, working on a little MAYTAG 92 again, and what I think we're going to do is we're going to start reassembling this backing plate. That way we can get rid of a bunch of parts. You know, the less parts you have floating around, the better. So we can get that together, put the wire in there, and the points and everything else belongs in there. But before we do that, I want to show you something here on this this flywheel here. Alright, you got these controls up here. This is what makes it hit and miss. You want to make sure this thing moves. I actually disconnected my spring here and to see if there was any play in this, and then this is actually pretty good. There's no play in it. And then you got some rollers here. They're spinning good. You want to make sure they all do. And then, you know, just give it a drop of thin oil and you should be fine there. And this spring here and this this little knurled roller here, that's just your speed control, I think. You know, to see how much it'll hit and miss. So what you want to do is you just want to make sure to get started, you just want to make sure you have tension on that spring, and then you can adjust it later on. But this bolt here, you want that 1.2 inches. Now, I actually made a gauge for this a while back, and this thing is dead nuts on. It fits right in there. So I don't even have to mess with that. But if you guys mess with these engines, it's worth making yourself one of these little gauges. And like I say, it's let me put that in there. There we go. 1.2, and you're good to go for that. So there's nothing real complicated about this. And then once you put it together and everything, you can adjust the points, and then your engine should start and run good if you want to do all that. So let me get this out of the way, and we'll start working on this bitch here. Alright, let's figure out where everything goes now. Here's our oil catcher, our capacitor, our points. And these here are shims, side-by-side shims, so they don't belong in there. And this here is a spark plug holder in her. Okay. This bolt here holds your oil slinger. Well, this belongs here. That's garbage. That's garbage. Okay. Got 4 bolts hold the mag or the coil on. I got 5 skinny bolts here. But if you look close, one of them is fatter than the rest of them right here. They must be 1032s. This must be a 1/4 20. This goes on to the clamp. This holds your clamp on back here. Okay, that's on. Now, let's see what else we got here. Okay, these hold your capacitor on because they got the big washers. They don't hold the capacitor on, they hold the points. There we go. You hold your points on. Don't need this anymore. This here goes with that. And all we got is 4 little bolts. The short ones hold the capacitor, and the long ones hold that on. So there you go. Next time, label them so you won't have so much trouble. Alright, I'm going to throw you guys up on the tripod. Alright, on your coils, it's important to check the inside, because I just checked mine and it was filthy. It was full of all kinds of crud. So I cleaned it out. Used sandpaper, or I used a little bit of the drill and just twisted it by hand. But let me spin around here and show you guys. Look at this, all this crud. Sorry about that. I was looking for a razor blade or something. But all this crud came out of there. That'll even though I had a spark, I may have a better spark now. You know, I don't know what that is, you know. some kind of corrosion. But it looks like inside the sides are look like copper, and the bottom I think might have been lead. I'm not sure, but anyway, make sure that's clean. Alright, let's try and put this in here without damaging anything. Okay, make sure you don't have no paint in your bolt holes here, because you're going to need that for a ground. Same with your points over here. Make sure you have no paint on top of these little titties. Get my free screwdriver. Oh, look at the way that works. I love it. I'm making it easy wiggling around like this. I think it's August 21st right now, 2017. We've got the solar eclipse going on outside the door there right now. After I put this together, I'm going to go out and check it out for you. Okay. Let me crank up on this bitch here. Okay. Not too much. Too big. Too big. Good enough for that. Okay. If you recall, I didn't want to touch this at all because I didn't want to crack the insulation on that. Alright. I guess we'll put the points on next. Almost put them on upside down. Okay. I'm going to stick that through the little hole there so we can solder it. And then with these points, remember I told you a certain way you put them on there so you don't have to adjust them? Oh, come on, get in there. They don't give you much room here. And I'm going to take that bitch out a couple times probably. Alright, but anyway, let me turn the screen here. There we go. Alright, I'm going to try and make you guys see this. I don't know if you can see it or not. But anyway, with the points, you want it in the center of this oval. And just a tiny bit of the top showing there. Like I said, I don't know how well you can see this. There you go. That's the bottom. You want it right there in the center of this oval, and then just a tiny bit at the top. So it's not going to be centered from top to bottom, but it's going to be centered from side to side. And you do that on both of these bolts, and your point should be perfect. They have gauges and stuff, but you know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and hold this in place here, and put this bottom one in, and then tighten it down. And I'm going to shut these off because you make me nervous. Okay, what I did is I had this side in reasonably tight where I wanted it and stuff like that, but now I'm looking at this hole and it's off just ever so slightly. So now it's right where I want it. And I'm going to tighten this down and hold it so it don't go anywhere. We can see that. But that's exactly where I want it. And now I'm going to put, matter of fact, I think I would like that up a little bit. There we go. There we go right there. Alright, so now I'm going to put this one in. And tighten up and then go check the other one. Seems like a lot of trouble, but This will make it perfect. Okay, now it's tight, but not all that tight. Alright, let me check the other one. Okay, now that one's centered, but I want it just a little bit higher. There we go. Okay, alright, that should be perfect. Alright, I'm happy with where that's at. Dig around with that as much as you have to get that right, and that'll make your engine run good. They actually sell a template or a gauge for that. You stick in the side here or something like that, and it holds it in position. But if you know where they belong, then you should be all right. One of our buddies at our shows, Jacktown shows, he knows everything MAYTAG. The guy got about 150 MAYTAGs or something. He knows anything there is to know about him. He taught me that. We're going to put our rebuilt capacitor in. Make sure these holes are clean too, because this has to be grounded too. That's where you ground. I'm going to leave that a little loose for now, because I'm actually going to have to put a little pressure on this here. Wow. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to try and bend that under a little bit, because that's a little too far to push. Alright, hold on. Alright. Yeah, I actually had to push that in with a screwdriver and screw that in there. Let me turn this around, because I got it where I can see it, not where you guys can see it. What the heck good is that? Let me tighten that down. So, rebuilt capacitor, man. Almost looks like original. Sometimes if you like, you write it on the back, you know, recapped a certain date or something like that, but I didn't do that. Alright, we got our new wire on here. Make it easy for you to see, but now I can't see. What the hell's with that? The screw is longer than I thought it was. Alright, look at that. You got the wire coming under there, and it's almost going where it's supposed to be. Okay, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. You make sure that wire isn't touching anything. Okay, looks like our super glue held pretty good, because it didn't move at all when I just tightened that. Okay, so I guess we could put this on. I was gonna solder that in, but I guess since I got this, we can put that in. This is it's our oil catcher. I think I got the hole. Oh, I missed it. I missed it. Why did I miss it? There we go. We got it now. I did it again. Let me turn it around so you guys can see. I can't believe I did that. What the hell good's watching the video if you can't see what I'm doing? Okay. This here got a little bit of play in it, but not enough to lose sleep over. Alright, there we go. Alright, what's next? Alright, I'm going to have to solder these wires together. You don't have to. I mean, he's got dagger clips in there. So you could actually just crimp this on there and you'll be fine. But I think I'm going to solder it on, because the other one's probably got a dagger clip too, but it's soldered a little bit. And they actually have a hole here so you can send the wire through and solder it. So I like soldering it. So let me go get my soldering gun and I'll be back. Okay. I was trying to do a little fitting here. And I'm taking a boot. And I tried to put the boot on and I can't get it on because the coil is almost touching over here. You know, and there's a big space over here, but over here is hardly anything. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a Dremel or a die grinder and just cut a little bit away. I even loosened up the coil here, but you really don't have any play in that. You know, you got the 4 bolts, and they're pretty dead nuts on. So I think the best thing to do is just trim that a little bit. This boot might be a little thicker than the original. That's probably why there's a problem there, but we'll take care of it. You guys go have a coffee break or something, and I'll be back. Alright, sit down here. Got this all finished up. This had to kick my ass here. This piece of rubber, I had to trim it and all kinds of shit to get it to work. I tried to orient this the same way it was, so it should look alright when I get done. Alright, yeah, the more stuff I put together, the less parts we got laying around, so let me put this off to the side. And we'll get this. I don't know how much time we got left on this video, but maybe I'll just throw a few things here together. And don't forget this. It's very important. Let me turn this around this way so it's got to go on a special way too. I don't know if you can tell, but this hole is smaller than these two. And I think that hole there is meant to go in that hole right there. Okay. Yeah, these aren't exactly symmetrical, so you really couldn't put that on wrong. And same with this. I think this is like a counterweight here. And I think that actually goes up there. Like I said, I don't think you could put this on backwards. They do that on purpose. Oh, I put that nut on upside down. Do you see that? These old nuts, you know, they have a flat on one side and they're slightly curved on the other. Again, no washer. That's strange. Okay, looking better already. I don't want to go down there and scratch the paint. This is actually a tight fit. Alright, let me send this down evenly and then we'll get back to you guys. Alright, sometimes when you're bullshitting, you're not paying attention, and I wasn't paying attention, so I was actually putting that in a little cattywampus. And it's funny, it's just a layer of paint, and that's how tight it was. But okay, that's done. Looks good. Alright. Now, let's just throw some bolts on this. So one more, oh, wait. How did I forget that? Alright, this should actually, this should have been taped here. Son of a gun. So, I'm gonna mark that off and then scrape that paint off right there. Alright, my bad. Alright, yeah, I don't know how I missed that, but that shouldn't be painted, but that cleaned right up. And then the bottom here, that ain't painted either, that just sits there. Now, let's see what bolts we got here. We go get a spring. Spring, and there's a bolt, and there's a bolt. It's a shoulder bolt. And with this, trying the same frame here. This, you actually stick a shoulder bolt in, and then take this spring, and that holds the spring in. And then you can whoa, oh, no! Lost my spring. Alright, I'm gonna go in from the side. Oh, this ain't working out. Let me come up with another plan. Alright, put that spring in there. I guess it's not tight enough to hold itself in. And just put a real light piece of tape on here. And that'll give me enough time start this screw. Okay, we did it. We did it. Now, let me put this other screw on here. The shoulder bolts. Now, that should come right out. There we go. There we go. I was going to say, you know what? A screwdriver here. Here we go with this. What's this here? Too big. Too big. There we go. Still there? Alright. Oh yeah, much better. Tighten it down here. I'm trying not to stab myself. Alright. That's tight. Alright. That's our little kicker finger there. Alright. I don't know how long this is, but we're gonna call it a video. Alright? Alright. Enough of this. Oh! I got a phone call. I bet you it's a little dirt bike.